fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
Okay, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. Sorry, do not have a camera for this video. I am not recording from my usual location, somewhere else, so don't have it. I know, I'm sorry, not the best video quality or quality video, but to start off, we got Carson here with us.
Yes, sir, of course. I'm always here.
Of course. First fight, guys, we got Montana De La Rosa versus JJ Aldrich. I like, this is going to be a really close fight, just because neither person is extremely talented. I think I'm going to go with Montana De La Rosa, just because I think she can win a little bit more of those clinch exchanges, and possibly end up on top in some of the grappling. And JJ Aldrich, I'd say she's probably a better striker, but every Montana De La Rosa fight I watch, for the most part, she's tied up with people, so I like to think that this one's going to make it to a decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning decision here. Really close fight. Typical women's fight. It might be who gets more ground control time. De La Rosa, her last two fights are against Tatiana Suarez and Macy Barber. Of course, she's losing the Suarez one, so that's obviously a tough matchup. And then JJ Aldrich, she beat Na Liang, and then her previous one before that lost to Ariane Lipsky when she was like a minus 360 favorite. So
right,
tough fight to call.
Yeah, Montana De La Rosa beat Lipsky, although it was like 2 years ago, and it seems like Lipsky's made some improvements. But I don't know, Montana De La Rosa is a little bit of a punching bag on the feet. She doesn't move her head very well, but at these low-level women's fights, like I said, I think they're going to get tied up pretty early, and De La Rosa being the taller fighter, both these girls having grappling backgrounds, it might just be her toughing it out in the clinch. And I'd say like a decision no bet on De La Rosa would be pretty safe, but obviously, we're not going to have any action in this one, so
definitely not.
Yeah. All right, De La Rosa by decision. Okay, guys, for the next fight, we have Nate Maness versus Mateus Mendonca, I believe people are supposed to say. I'm going with Mateus here. I feel like Nate Maness actually is a pretty quality fighter, but he's making this cut back to 125 pounds, where he looked on death's door, at least in my opinion, fighting Tagir. And if you look at Nate Maness, even at 135, when he fought Umar and he fought Tony Gravely, he looks completely drained at 135. I would expect this guy to go up in weight to 145, if anything, and I just don't think he's healthy here. Mendonca is shown to be really strong at that flyweight division, really giving Basharat problems at a 135 fight. So, he hits hard. His grappling looks pretty good. He's a shoot box guy. I think Mendonca takes this one.
Yeah, this is interesting. If it's at flyweight, I don't know. I'm looking at Mendonca's, all of his fights, and they seem to be at 135 as well here. So Nate Maness, he fought at 145 in 2020. So yeah, this seems weird if it's really at flyweight. I don't know, but if Maness is making that cut down, I think he's gonna get finished here. Right. I just in that Umar fight, I just think he was like, his goal was not to get submitted. Like, he didn't really put up a fight. He was just trying not to get submitted, if that makes sense.
I noticed something too in his Tagir fight at 125, and Cub Swanson had this when he cut to try to fight Jonathan Martinez. Their hands looked so much slower because all that muscle that they just had to remove from their bodies deteriorated, and they don't throw punches like they used to at their normal weight. So I think that affects him too. But Mateus gave Basharat grappling problems. I like Mendonca by a sub here. I think it could be a club and sub easily, but like you said with Umar, he just didn't even give him a submission attempt. I think Maness in this fight, when he's fighting maybe a less established grappler, like Umar will possibly give it to the neck sooner. So I'm gonna do a submission round 1. You like
Yeah, Mendonca, he's only 24 years old too, so he's still super young in this game. It's getting better and better.
Right. And those shoot box guys, they always show up and do pretty well on their first couple fights. So, all right, Mendonca submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight we have Kanako Murata versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Going with Murata in this fight. Vanessa is just kind of your, I don't know. She's trying to grapple, but she doesn't really have the wrestling to do it. She's flexible with her jiu-jitsu, but doesn't offer much on the feet other than just kind of swinging for the fences. And Murata, being a more established wrestler and being in top control will help her. And she also survived Virna Janadroba's submissions, although she kind of fucked up her arm in that fight. For the most part, she should be able to defend all the submissions and be in and out of range on the feet and outstrike her. So I like a decision here for Murata. What do you think?
Yeah, Murata's coming off of a 2-year layoff, so that'll be interested to see how she returns. She's still only 30 years old too, so I would imagine she's getting better and better every time in the gym. So, and then for Demopoulos, we all know she's a stripper. All of her losses are by decision too, so I do think this one goes long.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been too impressed with her skill set. I mean, she just kind of can tough through the punches for the most part, but a little bit of a punching bag on the feet as well. So, yeah. Murata by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Johnny Munoz Jr. versus Aoriqileng. I like Johnny Munoz Jr. in this fight. It'll be a close matchup, but there's so many stylistic differences in this that make it hard to call. Obviously, wrestler versus, or like grappler versus striker kind of matchup. But I think Johnny Munoz Jr. has some really well-timed takedowns, and Daniel Santos in their fight not too long ago was able to defend a lot of the super well-timed takedowns, and his grappling was so good he could deal with it. Aoriqileng, though, getting taken down by Jay Perrin, obviously coming off against a knockout as well, but he also got taken down by Durden, not too shameful in that sense, but getting taken down by Jay Perrin a couple times, not a great sign, also almost losing towards the end of it. Munoz doesn't, the problem with him is he just doesn't do a lot of damage, that's the scare there. But I think the grappler can, time those takedowns and win minutes on the ground. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this fight's pretty much a pick'em too, odds-wise, and they're both 30 years old, same height, or close to same height and same reach. So, definitely interesting matchup, and I think Munoz will be able to get those takedowns. Aoriqileng doesn't seem to have that great of takedown defense, and I think that's where Munoz wins it.
Right. I also think Aoriqileng keeps his head out a little bit, and he's pretty hittable. He got touched up a couple times, and partially why he got knocked out by Zahabi, but he gets a lot of hits taken on him. Jeff Molina fight would be a good example of that, but yeah. Sitting with Johnny Munoz here, he could get a submission just from his positions, but I think this one goes the distance, so Munoz Jr. by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Chris Gutierrez versus Montel Jackson. I'm going to edge Montel Jackson here. I don't know how I feel about him being a minus 190 favorite, but when you factor in a grappling edge, he's also just very big for this weight class, 135, very tall. He has that wrestling background, although I don't think it's as polished as a lot of fighters. Gutierrez, very solid fighter, but mostly just relying on that kicking game. And, Pedro Munoz is a very tough opponent, but you could see Chris just had a really hard time getting anything in his game going with the boxing. He got hit by some big punches, and I just don't think Montel throws enough volume in this to really knock him out. And I could see this one also. Chris just laid on his back in a couple of fights and just lost so many minutes. And I think Montel, if he gets on top for 2 of those rounds, just for a minute or two, it could edge a round. So I'll like Montel by decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Chris Gutierrez has like some of the best leg kicks in the UFC. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a tough matchup to call. I mean, I think his loss to Munoz really hurt his stock, and that's why I think he's a decent-sized underdog here, just because of his last loss against Munoz, and he didn't look that great in it. I think Montel Jackson, he's a really big reach advantage here, but I think he'll be working his clinch game and getting those takedowns as well and mixing it up with his ground game. I think if he's staying out in range, I think Gutierrez will be chewing up that leg, and it will not be great for Jackson. I think he's got to get in close and work the grappling here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. And something I noticed with Gutierrez, and I think it didn't work as well in the Pedro Munoz fight, is that he throws so many feints at people, but then he never throws his hands enough behind those feints. So, and Pedro Munoz is such a vet, he just didn't flinch to many of those things. I mean, maybe he can get Montel Jackson guessing a little bit more, but like you just said, like breaking down the range, like the reach advantage is a little bit questionable because Gutierrez will fight behind his kicks, not behind his hands. So,
right,
yeah. But yeah, I like Jackson by decision here, and I'm going to be looking at the over 2.5 when that line is released.
Yeah, both these guys are super tough, so
right.
I don't really see either one of them getting finished. Montel Jackson's never been finished before, and Gutierrez has only been subbed once, I think, by.
Also, Gutierrez's finishes are a little bit strange. Like, Edgar was short and shot a takedown, and Dana, he did a spinning elbow, which he doesn't typically do in fights, so yeah. But yeah, Montel Jackson by decision. Okay, for the next fight we have Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Diana Belbita. Taking the veteran experience in Karolina here, on a 3-fight win streak after coming off a 5-fight losing streak. And Diana Belbita on and off here in the UFC, but just a very, unique style in the women's fighting. Has her chin down really far, tries to throw really long, straight punches, but a lot of times these fighters who keep their chin so far down, I think they strike without even looking what they're striking at, and it's kind of hard to land punches, but she is high volume, which should go towards the scorecard for her, but Kowalkiewicz showed some grappling skills where she could be on top and win minutes in fights, and also just touch and move. And it'll be a close fight, as most chick fights are, but I think Kowalkiewicz, with the ground attack advantage, could win this one.
Yeah, I mean, she's a veteran at this point. I think that'll be helpful in this matchup. Winning those minutes on the ground as well. Always something to lean on there. I think she's kind of resurrected her career here after you mentioned the 5-fight losing streak. She's on a 3-fight win streak now, so she seems to be getting better even at the 37 years of age. So I like her to continue that streak here.
She's also shown to be pretty tough to knock out and finish, so makes me feel a little bit better too about picking her. I don't think she's going to get clocked by anything, so yeah. Karolina by decision. Okay, guys, for the next fight we have Bill Algeo versus Alexander Hernandez. Gonna be probably a fight of the night contender right here, or the fight of the night. I feel very torn on this one. I'm gonna go with Alexander Hernandez. Bill Algeo, though, carries some things in his game that are like instinctively Alexander Hernandez's weakness, which is like fading in fights and not being able to take damage after round 1. And Bill Algeo has been pretty good at taking damage and also not gassing out. So something that, Hernandez will probably like statistically or in this past time has lost to, but I feel like Algeo was also hittable in his TJ Brown fight. He was getting teed off on a little bit. In his Andre Fili fight, Andre Fili had him rocked a couple times from head kicks and big punches. So I don't know how I feel about Bill Algeo completely. He's pretty long, which could be a problem for Hernandez, but Hernandez straightened out his punches a lot in that Jim Miller fight, and I think he could just touch him up for at least 2 of the rounds. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Bill Algeo. I think his fight style is pretty fun to watch. His punches in his last fight with T.J. Brown were really loopy punches, wide hooks. But when he did straighten them out, he was doing well. I just think he resorts back to the loopy punches a little bit too much for my liking. But he carries his cardio well. He's super tough. He's only been subbed twice, never been KO'd. So the longer this fight goes, I think it leans towards him. But I think like Algeo went in the third, I think is pretty likely if it goes that far. But the first 2 rounds will be really tough, and I think Hernandez with straight punches, like he was doing with Jim Miller, I think he can take those first 2 rounds.
Alexander Hernandez also needs to abandon wrestling offensively in his fights, because every time he does it, he just slows down. He did it with Billy Q before getting knocked out. And, that Jim Miller fight, he timed it really well. The first 2 rounds were really dominant. And then in the round 3, Jim Miller almost caught him and almost submitted him towards the end of the fight. So just kind of, something where he could fade here. He also gets his back taken pretty easily. Moicano took it very easily when he finished him. I'm thinking a third round or a decision win here. But, Bill Algeo, I think T.J. Brown just hit him a little bit too much for me. Hernandez also, this fight being at featherweight, he looked massive at featherweight when he fought Billy Q. I think he could carry that size here as well, more of a natural featherweight than a lightweight. So this will be a great fight, though. Alexander Hernandez, say what you want. I never fully loved him, but he's in entertaining fights, to say the least, so I respect that.
I mean, this could be fight of the night, so I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah. Okay. Alexander Hernandez by decision. Okay, guys, for the next fight, we have Philipe Lins versus Ion Cutelaba. Woo, I like this fight. Going with Philipe Lins as an underdog. Ion is, that wrestling build where he's just going to try to go take you down. And in his nickname, pretty much be like Hulk to you, smash you if he can. But he's such a killer, be killed fighter. And Philipe Lins here on a career resurgence at light heavyweight, although, beating OSP doesn't say a lot. He did beat Maxim Grishin, who's a giant, and a lot of his punches were landing very flush in the first and second round. He completely made the fight boring by clinching as the fight went on, but I just don't see Ion really accepting clinch position on the fence, because that's not really his style. I'm going with a knockout in the first round for Philipe Lins, and I really liked the under in this fight. So, what do you think?
Yeah, Cutelaba is kill or be killed. I mean, he's going to go out there and try to take you down and ground pound you out, submit you in that first couple minutes. But after that, he's gassing out. So Lins' takedown defense is super good. I think he can stuff those takedowns. I mean, Cutelaba might be able to get him down, but I think Lins will be able to get back up or reverse it and get Cutelaba out there in that first round. I'm leaning towards the 4-minute mark. That's my prediction.
The scare for this fight for the under would just be that Cutelaba tries to wrestle in round 1, and he gets too tired and doesn't get a finish in round 1, and then they both stare at each other for the first 2.5 minutes of round 2. That's the scare in my eyes. But
yeah, exactly.
Or they clinch. But I do feel like Lins has shown he's got real power at this weight class, and some decent accuracy too. Like, he was just landing flush on Grishin, and Grishin could not hit him. But yeah, kill or be killed is the name of the game for Ion. He's been under 1.5, I believe, in his last 4, and then Devin Clark, he went to decision, but he knocked Devin Clark's teeth out in that fight. And even before that, it's like under for a bunch of his fights. So
Exactly.
Yeah. Lynn's KO round 1. Okay, for the next fight we have Drew Dober versus Aoriqileng. Going with Drew Dober. He's on and off because one big problem about Drew's game, he's never reliant on head movement or really defending his head because he trusts his chin so much. Obviously, that was his detriment and his downfall in his Frivola fight. But for the most part, Aoriqileng, who's struggled with a lot of injuries, and he looked just so slow in his Giagos fight. I don't think Giagos or Glenn can really cut the distance down. I don't love the money line number on Drew Dober, just because he's willing to trade with people and leave his chin up there. But for the most part, I understand it, and I think he does win this fight with an early knockout. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Glenn, in his last fight, that was his first KO loss, and I think that continues here. But yeah, like you said, he's just so stiff and slow. I think Drew Dober will be able to crack him on the chin and get him out of there.
Yeah, and if Drew puts him on the back foot, which he's pretty good at putting people on the fence, that's where he really shines. So possibly he might eat some early punches, but if anything, if I'm looking at this fight, I probably like the just Drew Dober by finish, although that's going to be minus 200 or higher, I would assume. So, I don't know if there's too many great spots in this fight, to be honest.
Yeah, not really. I mean, he's a parlay piece, but even then, it's still pretty wide.
Yeah, he was minus 350 before, and I just watched the line, and now it's 500. I know it says 470 on the screen here, but I think it's even higher. But anyway, yeah. Drew Dober, knockout, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Alex Morono versus Joaquin Buckley. I'm going with Alex Morono. I really like him here as an underdog, and I've already bet it at plus 165 for a unit. Joaquin Buckley has, some decent parts to his game, but also so many things he does wrong when I watch his fights. Just goes left hook, right hook, and leaves it all out there. Something he does do well is his kicking game is he just throws a lot of kicks, and I'm not even talking about the highlight that he has to his name, but just body kicks and being active as a striker. However, I feel like Alex Morono possesses something in his game that's going to give Buckley problems, which is just footwork and stepping out of range and straight punches. And Buckley, at welterweight, will carry less of a speed advantage, and sometimes that's why he did good at middleweight, is because he's a little bit faster than some of these guys. And, Alex Morono's body type, almost the opposite of Buckley's. Not just his skin
exact
color.
Opposite.
But, different body type, but, it's the thing with Jun Yun Park. People will just underestimate him because he's a little bit skinny fat and has some extra skin. But for the most part, people should know this guy can fight. So I like him to win a decision. What do you think here?
Yeah, I like him here as an underdog. I think the keys for him will be that footwork and straight punches. I think in his last fight against Tim Means, he really used that footwork and he used it really well and to create openings on Means. So Buckley's kind of, like you said, wide hooks. He doesn't really throw many straight punches, so I think that's where Morono will be able to get him and piece him up. I don't think he'll be able to finish him. Buckley's never been submitted before and only been KO'd a couple times. But I think Morono here over 15 minutes wins a decision.
A couple of things, I got some notes here of a couple things I see every time when I watch Buckley fight. Every time he throws heavy punches, and Cody Garbrandt does this too, he dips his hips and loads his hips and his legs with all the power. And you just know that big strike is coming as soon as he's doing that. When he fought Fiallo, he was not decisively winning that fight. He was getting touched and he was rushing, and Fiallo is known as a flat-footed counter-striker, and Alex Morono is just so much better footwork. I just assume that bouncing in and out will be a lot easier. Another thing, Buckley loves to try to change angles with his feet, but then he throws wide hooks, which like counteract the changing the angle. Like Wonderboy changes angles and throws a straight punch. People don't see it coming. But Buckley just like runs in circles around people and then throws wide punches. And then finally, when he blitzes in, he does not protect his chin at all. It's right hook, left hook, chin up in the air. And I just don't think he might not see a punch coming too and go down. So yeah, I really like Alex Morono as an underdog here. He's faced some power punchers, man. He's faced Matt Semmelsberger. He was beating Santiago Ponzinibbio up until that one punch, and
he came in on short notice, I believe, in that fight too.
Yeah,
and
it was 180 catch weight, and he was really getting tired in round 3, which typically he doesn't get tired. So, that was a catch weight. And, Chaos Williams is like the other power puncher. And not a good example because he got knocked out in like 30 seconds. But that was a while ago. So I really like him as underdog here. Buckley, obviously being a hype name. I'm curious where this line will end up at fight time. So, yeah. Any more thoughts here?
No, sir.
All right. Morono by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Joe Pyfer versus Abdul Razak Alhassan. Gotta go with Joe here. Age, obviously, a big deal in this fight. 27 years old versus 38 years old. Abdul, somewhat fun to watch, but he's mostly just a flat-footed guy who wants to throw haymakers. And, one good thing, I guess, about his game is he tries to get his leg kick going a little bit more now, but that's also how he got knocked out versus Chaos Williams. And, I don't love the line here on Joe just because it's a kind of a knockout versus knockout fight. Like, both these guys are going to be going for that big punch, and, one could land from Abdul, but I think Joe's shown really good range management. That left hand looks really good with the left hook and jab, and Meerschaert didn't even get anything going. So I like Pyfer knockout. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely liking that as well. I think this fight ends in KO. If you look at Alhassan's, all of his wins are by KO. He's got one loss by KO and then two
Buckley
4 decision
and,
losses, I think.
Lazez by decision, something like that.
Yeah, 4 decision losses, I think. And then, Pyfer, he's pretty much knocking out everybody as well. So, definitely like this one to be ending in a KO here. I think Pyfer will be able to put out Alhassan.
Yep, small cage as well. Kind of forced violence in that way. But yeah, I
4-inch height advantage too for Joe.
Right. Well, Abdul's got
and the age advantage.
Like fucking Lizzo.
Yeah, and the age advantage, 27 to 38.
Right. And the trend of their careers. Abdul's in this weird stage right now. Although I thought he beat Buckley. It was clear it was really close. I think I might have scored that one for Abdul, but yeah, this should be a good fight. KO round 2. I like that. I like that under, like you said, or fight finishes in a knockout. I think both of those are really good. Exactly. All right, Pyfer, whatever it is, knockout round 2. Okay, guys, welcome to the main event. As always, guys, please leave a like, subscribe. Thank you for the continuous support. And for the main event, we have Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. I feel very hesitant to look at the minus 400 number and think that Grant Dawson should be of minus 400. I could understand somewhat why. We're going to pick him here, but, Bobby Green is a savvy vet. He has so many fucking fights, and for the most part, other than, like, Islam, really never ends up on his back. So that's something to be nervous about, and, I rewatched the Islam and Bobby Green fight, as short as it is, and Bobby actually did a good job of framing off the initial takedown, but Islam's sheer strength and technique just like took over not long after. and he's pretty much dead in the water. And I'm just not sure if Grant Dawson brings in that level of wrestling to really deal with Bobby Green so dominantly. So I'm really curious how this fight goes past a round or two. But what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Dawson will have his moments and be able to get Bobby Green down. I just think if Green's able to survive those rounds, I think. How does Dawson's cardio look? I mean, it's looked better the last couple fights with Demirs Magulov and Mark Madsen.
He's like controlling positions better, which like makes him not as tired. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then this is his first 5-round fight too. So be interested to see if it does go to those 5 rounds, championship rounds, how his cardio holds up. But these last couple fights, it seems to be getting better. So I can't be doubting him there.
Some other things that just concern me. I mean, this was a really, really big fight where the live bet on Bobby Green could be massive, because in round 2 or 3, Grant Dawson could just be holding a body triangle, but then his legs start to get tired. This is a 5-round fight. This guy's been getting tons of control time on everyone, but his legs could get tired from a body triangle. Another thing to really think about, Bobby Green leaves his hands so low, striking all the time, that he might just be able to defend all those takedowns as well, because his hands are always in underhook position. So something to think about there. I also feel like Demir sat in front of him and didn't move laterally well enough. He just kind of let Dawson take advantage of those positions where, like, Sean O'Malley, for example, versus Aljamain, constantly laterally moving, so Aljamain can't really nail him down anywhere. And I can see Bobby doing that as well. So,
and when they were striking, Demir seemed to be piecing Grant Dawson up with those straight punches too, and Bobby Green likes those straight punches as well. So
right,
he could be winning the damage aspect when they're striking.
And this is why it's concerning to me that Dawson's such a big favorite too, because it's a grappler versus striker matchup, which Bobby Green, again, all of his experience and background in wrestling, he's been there, and Dawson is so only good on the ground. Like, his hands are not good, and it's just going to be concerning. The cardio, you're facing Bobby Green, who has great cardio. So I don't love the number. I also don't love the idea of betting Bobby Green. I like the idea of either live betting or, Bobby Green by decision. He doesn't. There could this be a fight where Grant Dawson does an Aljamain Sterling where he gets hit on the feet and he goes down to his knees and gets takedowns, but he's a grounded fighter. So I don't know. Interesting fight to say the least. But Dawson, the way he's been winning fights, I would assume should be able to win this one. I know I've been sounding like I'm picking Bobby Green this whole time, but yeah. Any more thoughts here?
Yeah, really looking forward to this fight. I think be a really good matchup too, especially for it's good to get Dawson in there for a 5-round fight, just to see how he paces himself, I guess, and if they do go later, how well that cardio holds up. So.
Something else I was thinking about too is that I feel like Dawson's gotten away with a lot of the time he's been around being so much bigger than everyone he's been fighting. He's had, weight cut issues, and that strength advantage is how he wins, and that's kind of what Bobby Green struggled with Islam. So, obviously there's trouble there, and Dawson, a bit of a weight bully on this division. So, all right, that's the main event, guys. We will now get into the betting breakdown of the last card. Okay, guys, for our bets, we went positive. And I know on your guys's, if you tailed this on whatever book you're on, you probably didn't go positive. And I thought we lost our money. So I'll talk through the main event, that start round 4 bet. On Bet US, I played this, and they canceled the bet. And I don't know why, because in most cases, and in cases prior on like DraftKings, I've lost my money on injuries, for example, and there's this curse with our channel where every time a main event injury happens, it goes against us, and we've also bet on the fight. But for this time, for some fucking reason, they didn't take our money, and I don't know why they didn't, because an injury that happens in the fight could have been caused in the fight, and I don't know why, but we didn't get our money taken. So I feel thankful, but I also feel shitty because you guys lost on this event, probably if you tailed. So what do you think, Carson?
Yeah, I mean, they still had it pending like a day and two later, so I'm not sure what they were doing, and then they canceled it. So I was really surprised to see that, but
I'm thankful. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, Rodriguez and Jourdain, I liked both of those money lines, and I was pretty confident in both of those too. So
yeah, I that's always the classic thing. Like, I wish I put more on that with Marina Rodriguez. Like, I wish I put 10 units on that because I knew she was gonna win. I knew it was gonna look pretty easy, maybe not to that extent, and she just destroyed her.
Yeah, I mean, when Waterson first took her down, it was like, whoa.
Right.
Hey, yo.
And then Jourdain, I mean, Ramos, I didn't think that guillotine was fully in, and I was surprised when he tapped to it, because it was like halfway over the head, like Jourdain's tricep wasn't at like the base of the neck, so I was kind of surprised. Got that. Brian battled by decision. I feel like it was heading there. Obviously, it didn't make it. Probably would have gotten the finish in the third round had it kept going, so shouldn't complain anything there. I'm happy enough to not lose on this event and get lucky, but yeah, that's a positive card somehow. And by the fucking way, it would have started round 4 in that Fiziev Gamrot fight. There's no fucking doubt about that. So
yeah, I mean, if you just see how slow-paced the first and second round were, I mean, I definitely thought that was going to a decision.
Right. And a lot of people were saying that, like, Gamrot possibly caused that partial tear maybe by like when they were doing it, he was doing a takedown, he had Fiziev's leg over his head. I don't know, it's just like when you're throwing a kick and your non-kicking leg snaps your ACL, I don't know, it's bizarre. So anyway, hopefully the start of a win streak, and NFL bets, as always, check them out. And anything else from you?
Nope.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here with us. Peace.
Peace.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now. 11-0.